Okay, I'm all done with my raya, which means I'm ready to start weaving the face part of my worry doll. To start, I'm gonna need a needle and a nice long piece of thread. First thing I'm gonna do is tie my thread in the needle. I'm just gonna take the end, carefully put it through my needle. Then I'm gonna take this end, I'm gonna cross it over and make a little loop. Then this tail is gonna come up and around, and I pull. It's usually a good idea to do a double knot, so I'll show you how to make that knot again. Cross the end over to make a little loop. Then this is gonna go under and through. Once I've got my needle tied, I'm ready to start weaving. When I weave, I'm gonna go over, under, over, under, over, under, and pull it through. I don't want to pull so far that this ends up coming through. Just want to leave a little bit at the end. Then I'm going to take a fork and I'm going to scoot that weft string up there. So then I'm going to come back, and again I'm going over, under, over, under, over, under. Pull my weft through. Be careful not to get this all bunched up. Use a fork and push it on up. Then again, I'm going over, under, over, under, over, under. Pull it through. I'm not pulling too tight like this. See how my strings are bunching together? That's gonna make it really hard to weave. If that happens, I can kind of use my fingers to space them out. And remember to use that fork to push it on up. So remember, I go over, under, not under, over. If I were to go under, over, I'm gonna have a problem. So if I go under, over, instead of having a nice new row, I'm gonna unravel everything I just did. So remember, it's always over, under, over, under, over, under. Pull it through. Use your fork to push it up. Over, under, over, under, over, under. Remember, we're not pulling too tight so our strings are touching. We also don't want to pull too loose. So you don't want to be left with loops like this. Keep pulling through until this string is just touching, and don't forget, use your forks to push it up as you go. When it's about as short as your hand, that's when it's time to get a new string. And when you're ready for a new string, all you're gonna do is make sure you forked up your last weaving, and you're just gonna cut this string off. And you're gonna leave the extras hanging. We will trim them all up at the very end. You can carefully cut that knot off and get yourself a new piece of string. Then you're just gonna tie it on the needle. String goes through the needle. I make a loop, pull the end through the loop, tie it off, make a loop, and through the loop, pull it off. And I'm just gonna pick up weaving where I left off. I'm gonna go over, under, over, under, over, under, pull it through, but not all the way through like that. Go over, under, over, under, over, under, pull it through, leave a little bit of tail, scoot it up. Use my fork to make sure it's all the way up there. Okay, my face is all done, and now I'm ready to move on to my arms.